we should do everything we can to be willing to die before we commit a mortal sin, but venial sin is also very serious. That can really hurt our lives.
Yes, venial sin is also is not a matter to be taken lightly, because it is a sin. And being a sin, it is an offense against God. The one big difference between venial sin and mortal sin is that venial sin is not a total turning away from God. And it does not remove the life of God from the soul. It sort of makes the person turn aside, but not turn his back against God. So it doesn't remove God's friendship, but it does not make it better. It does not increase it. It means a weakening of our love of God. It means, therefore, harm to ourselves and also to others, depending on the action.
I've heard some people say, well, you go to confession and the priest will say, well, that's not a sin, it's a fault. Well, a fault is a sin. I mean, if I lose my temper, I mean, that's a fault, but it's also a sin. You know,
Well, the distinction can become a bit faint. Yeah. Maybe if a person said, maybe when he said it is not a sin but a fault, maybe he meant is an imperfection or an inclination. That is, in us, there is some type of root of sin, and it is sometimes called an imperfection before it takes a clear shape of one act or omission. But if it is a definite act or omission, it becomes a sin. It can be a venial sin, but a sin. Whereas a general imperfection is not yet a sin. What you call impatience. You see, some people are more, they react quicker than others. There are some people who are cold-blooded, phlegmatic, and they look very holy. But that is not because they are very patient, but because they are very slow to react. But other people, before ever the needle touches them, they jump. So only God can assess the degree of fault, if I may put it so. So that it's, in that sense, it is very difficult for us to judge others. Yes. At times, it is hard enough to judge ourselves. And also, because there are some venial sins that only something very little separates them from a mortal sin. It may be just full consciousness of what they are doing was not there, or they were not totally free, or they were not totally aware. You see, only God sometimes can assess such. That is why mortal sin, venial sin, should not be taken lightly. That it is venial sin does not mean it does not matter.